This week's episode marks the beginning of a series on optimizing your online profiles. And this week in particular, episode 9, we're starting a 2-part series on your firm's website SEO or search engine optimization. Part 1, before the search. Stay tuned. Giving architects and landscape architects the tools and strategies to be seen, heard, and valued in the marketplace, and telling the stories of leaders building thriving design firms and attracting their ideal clients. This is From Architecture to Profitecture. I'm your host, Jay Krakowski. Let's get started. Hey there, everyone. Great to see you, future and fellow Profitex. Hope you are doing well. Thanks for tuning in. So I wanted to start this series on optimizing your profiles, and in this case, optimizing your firm's website. It seems more and more these days we hear about more people not only just searching for you online, but also having more time on their hands in front of devices or computers. And of course, I'm hinting, and I will get to some ideas later about the current COVID-19 crisis going on, with more and more architects, landscape architects, designers now being forced to work remotely or work at home. But let's stay on target here and talk about your website. And I wanted to split this into 2 parts: before the search and after the search. And kind of more excited about part 2, actually. But I've got 5 great tips for you today, tips and strategies as you maybe revisiting your firm's website these days and trying to maximize its efficiency and efficacy as we seek to continue to bring in new client leads, even with uncertainty in the economy and in the markets here. So I want to jump right in. The first notion is about utilizing keywords, keyword research. Favorite tool of mine is Uber Suggests. I'm not sponsored. It's a free tool, as it is, put out by Neil Patel Digital. And what you can use this tool for is to both review the pages and articles and blog content of competitors, but also look at search volumes. What are people actually searching for? Is it as simple as architect in Milwaukee? Or are there more nuanced terms that you possess a specialty in that you want to focus on? Maybe there are different words around that you're not thinking of, or that you might be surprised to see pop up in searches, where you might be able to tweak your headlines, tweak your copy, tweak your blog content, even if it's old content. And we'll get to content updating a little bit later on. But really diving into keywords, the things that Google and other search engines use to rank your page, rank your website. Take the time to go through all of those terms that you think that potential clients will be searching for projects or types of projects that you would be interested in working on, and that you see a demand for in your market or locale. The second idea is video. And of course, I'm one to shout this from the rooftops, but having video on your website immediately boosts your search rankings. In fact, as you start to do, even if you do searches for content nothing to do with design and construction, you'll notice that Google has begun to pop up video content at the top of the page, sometimes even above the top ranking. That's how invested they are in video, both on mobile and on desktop devices. And I don't have stats in front of me, but there's seems to be ever increasing numbers put out there. I believe Cisco did a study a year or so back saying that the majority of internet traffic, and that's just in terms of data moving back and forth, will be video, certainly in the next few years, if not already. So it's crucial to come up with a video strategy for your firm's website, and whether that's informational content, educational content, whether you are taking a stand on certain issues of the day, or you're simply utilizing your firm profile, your about page in video format. I would highly recommend that. The third notion, loading times. I know that sounds boring, and I know that I am not a web designer at heart, and I don't think you are either. We are much better suited for other endeavors in running a design firm, but this is important because so many more folks are, if not searching for you on mobile devices, they are vetting you there. Now, load times come down to an issue of the content itself on the page. Having an overabundance of ads that can drag things down, having a very fancy setup for navigation where windows are fading in and out and videos are playing over one another, and this all affects the load times of your pages. And when somebody simply wants to understand whether you're a good fit for them, for their project, understand your capabilities and your expertise, and then find out how to get in touch with you, how to work with you, that's a quick 1, 2, 3 that needs to happen. And if it's bogged down by heavy content, so to speak, an overabundance of ads, fancy tricks and gimmicks of fonts moving around and hidden windows, it's seriously going to affect how quickly things load, and it's going to affect how quickly people will click away. Another idea with fast loading is to go ahead and revisit old content. It could be a blog. Are there ways to optimize it, to trim it down, to update it with new keywords where Google will rank that higher in their search rankings? And related to that, the fourth part, and one of the most important things you should be thinking about, is that your website be quote unquote mobile first. Google is prioritizing this in how they rank pages, and they have a tool. It's actually called Mobile Friendly Ready, which you can use to check your site. Now, website builders such as Squarespace, which I actually use for my design firm, again, not sponsored, they build out their sites mobile ready and mobile friendly and mobile optimized, and it's critical these days. The big point here is to be able to deliver what your potential client wants from you right off the bat, immediately, above the fold, as they say, before they have a chance to scroll or start to click the navigation buttons. How are you organizing your headings and then your subheadings and any text? Is it easy to read? Are there contrasting colors behind the text, around the text? Are there alternating blocks of color as you move in and around the site? Having text obscured by yes, the beautiful images of the work you've created, but if it's hard to read the text, or if they're competing, if your beautiful images and the important text are competing with one another, that's an issue, and especially on something something this big. Especially something that big, it needs to be crystal clear, almost from arm's length. I think I mentioned that on a number of different videos. You need to be able to hold the phone at full arm's length from you and still understand the content of the page, not be squinting or fighting to understand because it's a simple click away. It happens in tenths of a second. So mobile first for sure. The last and most important is user intent. Understanding what you're building a website for in the first place. Is it simply to be a portfolio? Is it simply to be a repository of those beautiful images of all the projects that you've completed, or of sketches, or of your office space and the people that work with you, the people that work for you? Or are you approaching it as a tool to gain new clients? And there is a slight difference there. Very simply, and I just mentioned it before, when someone visits your website, and this is assuming that you're ranked appropriately in Google and they can find you easily, is do they can they understand that you can help solve their problem, and how do they work with you? And where do I click to book a call? Where do I click to schedule an appointment, or to come in for a visit? It needs to be, again, above the fold. It needs to be crystal clear. Now, if you're setting up your website simply as a portfolio, that's fine, but be intentional about how and why you're setting things up. And as you're looking at, if you're setting it up as a portfolio, and then you're looking at your click-through rates or your booked calls off the website, and it doesn't sit well with you, that's something to take a look at. One example that comes to mind for me is Big, Björk Ingles. I opened his website and I mean, I was confused. Of course, I wasn't looking for that kind of heady experience. I was simply wanting to find one project of his, and I had to scroll through a myriad of, it was a bunch of colored cubes at the time, to find where the projects were and where that particular apartment project was. But in his case, he has built the reputation and the following and the size of firm, and most likely the project backlog, to be able to do that. Again, that's intentional. And his intent with the website, the firm's intent with the website, probably isn't to pull in as many new client leads as possible. There's a much more artistic and nuanced approach to it, which is great, which is fine. But again, is it a portfolio? Is it some other type of project for you within the firm, or is it a client generation tool? It should be very intentional about that. So, any questions about SEO, please feel free to shoot them over to me. You can DM me either on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. The handle Jake Krakowski. And two more things. I do want to note that if you would like to learn a new way, a simple way to come up quickly with content based on the framework of storytelling, my short free course, Story Script Shoot, I've extended it out until April 3rd. I was going to close it down this week, but I decided to keep that open because I know that there's a lot of uncertainty out there, that there are a lot of people in transition, whether that's being furloughed, whether that's having to now work remotely or at home with children, where that hasn't been the case before. But you still want to be looking at your firm's content. You want to be adding to or tweaking your firm's content. Well, I've developed a great framework here, and I'd love to have you on board. So again, shoot me a direct message on any of the socials there at Jake Krakowski, and I will get you access into the program. And I'd be remiss if, again, I didn't talk a little bit about the current COVID-19 situation. I've got a 4-year-old in the room behind me. I've got the 2-year-old sleeping upstairs. They are home full time now. So that has been a change for me, and being able to juggle client work and then being able to juggle my time with you here every Thursday afternoon. And I just want to say that I empathize with anyone going through this change, and God forbid if you have lost your job as you're listening to this. That definitely hits home with me, because that was my situation back in 2008. First furloughed, then brought back, and then let go, and then brought back 3 months later, thankfully, because there was some work, bigger jobs in the pipeline there. But if there's any way, and even beyond website SEO, social media, video creation, if you just want to, talk to someone because you feel cooped up and crazy in your house, shoot me a DM. I will help you any way I can, not just to get through the crisis, just to get through it, but as a fellow designer, as a fellow firm owner, as a fellow human. If you want to reach out, please do. I'm happy to talk to you. I'm happy to video chat with you even more. I think putting face to face, even if it's through the lens of a camera, is just such a powerful tool. And we've all seen the explosion of Zoom and Google video conferencing just in the last couple of weeks with all of the school shutdowns and work shutdowns and mandatory shelter in place orders. they've started that just north of me in Asheville, North Carolina. I'm sure it's coming to South Carolina very soon, but not to jump on a bandwagon, so to speak, but A, we will get through this, and B, if there's anything I can help you with, please don't hesitate to reach out. So part 2 next week of this series regarding looking at your website's SEO is after the search. Things that you can do after the search once a potential client has found you to keep their attention, to keep them not only from clicking away, but to keep them engaged and into booking a call, booking a visit, discovery session, whatever you call it, to get out there and continue to bring in client leads, whether that's for projects of an immediate nature or projects far out in the future and planning. But with the uncertainty in the markets and in the economy, having but yes, the user intent and then the messaging and the content of your website is crucial. In future weeks, we're going to get into the different social profiles, social platforms, and how we can optimize all of those so that they are working for us as best they can. So once again, I appreciate you tuning in, and until next time, make it a great week, because our success is inevitable. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you stay up to date with future episodes. Connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn at Jake Krakowski. And for show notes and much more, visit profitecturebydesign.com/podcast.